Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just got an idea and we're gonna do it today and I'm excited. Um, every so often in your team, right, you'll get a quest to play like 25 games or win 25 games, I think it is, with a particular planeswalker, and my team usually tears through these. I didn't even want to look and see how far ahead they are yet because I wanted the challenge of just building a planeswalker that I just don't normally play. And it's funny because we were even talking in the team about, tier lists and are we updating them? Where is everything at? Um, and so we usually cycle through talking about planeswalkers, and Nahiri comes up, and from what I understand, like some folks have been asking for more Nahiri content on our website, whether that's like certain deck builds or just content about it. So this kind of works into that. But I just thought, you know what? Let's build a deck together in this video. Let's play some games and just kind of go through the process together because I could just build it on my own and be like, I tested it and here's how it is. But I thought this would be more fun. So without further ado, um, let's just build a Nahiri deck together. These were some old drafts of other things. So we're just going to get into the new deck and see what we can come up with. And just to go through kind of my process and we'll see. So I think probably the three lands I would be considering would be Emberspawn, Moorland Haunt, and Monastery. At times, I've been really impressed with Monastery for being able to have some really solid card advantage. However, I think Crags, specifically with Nahiri's passive, right, where you can give something +2/+0, often it's more. Crags can be really good just getting extra aggressive bodies because Nahiri already has haste cards that she usually runs and stuff like that can be really powerful. But also Moorland Haunt can be powerful if you're running particular cards. So I think let's hold off on the land. And I think all of her signature cards are pretty solid. And when I've built her before, it's an aggro deck. You generally want to keep the curve pretty low. Core Recruit can do a ton of work, just being a 2/1 haste with armor. Outburst can just be a pretty efficient removal spell, and Willful Smith, aka Will Smith. Um, I love that that's the card name. Just beefs up your passive instead of +2/+0, it's +3/+0, which just makes basically any creature you're playing a threat that your opponent, has to be pretty mindful of. So those are the easy ones. Now, picking a class is interesting, right? I would say that Oath of the Paladin probably has the best. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I think Barbarian doesn't get a lot of love, and I think can be explosive if you get the right setup, but I think it's a little too kind of random or like not as easy to build around. I think Oath is a little more straightforward. You're getting an early one drop that can sometimes affect, you know, creature's toughness in a positive way. You're getting a free removal spell, which is really nice for the deck, and Aura of Courage just makes a lot of your small creatures into threats. So I'm gonna say we start with Oath of the Paladin. That's where I think it is reasonable to start. Um, we definitely need some one drops. I would say Fledgling Griff is probably one of the best evasive one drops, and the reason why you want evasive creatures, right? In case you haven't played with Nahiri much, is you have the ability to give something +2/+0 each turn when you pay 1 mana. So clearly, having cheap flying creatures, cheap sneak creatures, if that's the case, creatures with armor, she does pretty well. Which is why Daughter of Runes kind of naturally synergizes, right? You can make Daughter of Runes into a threat, but also it's giving other creatures that you play armor. So I do think that Daughter of Runes is a pretty solid include. But as you can see, there are a lot of pretty relevant one drops. Like Invoke the Dawn can do a lot of work in this deck. Elite Vanguard is obviously just one of the scarier one drops, as long as they don't have a way to answer it. Rookie can be good. Caracol can be good. Shields Up might be an include in this deck. Um, but I think those look good so far. I'm already getting my icon on Two-Headed Hellhound. I think this is probably a pretty solid one drop to be playing. Right, this deals double damage, so obviously buffing its power with our Nahiri, Stoneforge Blade is very good. Right, so it's becoming a 6 power creature with 1 mana, or 2 mana if you count paying for the creature. Sundancer is cool just because it is a 1 mana 2/1 that can get flipped into a 4/3, but I don't think this deck is really trying to do that. Pouncing Lemur and Raging Goblin are definitely the other one drops to be considering. Making Pouncing Lemur bigger doesn't really do anything, but it is just like a solid body. Um, there's also Shock, which in the meta right now, it's hard to tell if Shock does anything. Um, I think Burn Through might actually be a better option if we're trying to clear a blocker. Um, and I'm trying to think of how many one drops we want. I think this is a good start, and maybe we'll come back. Usually, I like to pick the cards that my gut is like, okay, I think this should be in the deck, and then I kind of circle back. So let's look at twos. Um, Griffin, I generally have liked in strategies like this. It dodges a lot of removal, being 3 toughness, and you just make up for it because it's just getting its power buffed, right, from our Stoneforge Blade. Although I don't know if it's, the best thing to be running. And, Alright, let's include 2 Silver Griffin for now. I don't see anything else. Devoted Steed, I think, is a solid include. It's a 2/2 body. It can pump your flyers. It can pump itself. I think it does enough work in the deck. Frontline Paladin, I could see being good. I don't know if this card is what we would need, but a 1/3 armor that can get buffed obviously can be pretty good. We do have Daughter of Runes, though, that's giving some of our creatures armor, so I'm not sure we need that. Overgrown Iguana, however, I mean, this thing is a 4/2 trample, and so if we suit it up, it's a 6/2 trample, and we're just trying to get our opponent, dead as possible. Sword Cannoneer, I also think, is probably one of the better cards for this kind of strategy, with evasive creatures, or creatures with trample. So, we'll see. 2-hit Wonder is interesting. I don't think we really care to play a card like that. I think Goblin Shortcutter actually is particularly good in the meta because when you think about trying to attack past Liliana's reanimated targets or other things that could just blank some of your attacks, Goblin Shortcutter can really do some work. So I think that's something I'm interested in. We're not playing Paragon. That's not really what we're going for. Let's see. Not a huge fan of Immolating Glare. Pinpoint Avenger just doesn't do enough in this meta. I think Stoneforge Mystic is just almost always a really great white aggro / mid-range card. Path to Exile, I think, might be a necessary evil for us. Although Nahiri Blade, Nahiri's Outburst can take care of a lot of high toughness creatures. Path to Exile, yes, it's giving them a mana, but just having an unconditional removal spell, I think, for decks that are trying to push through damage can be, very, very powerful. So, we'll see. We'll see. Again, we're just kind of going through, seeing what cards we like, seeing what cards we think line up well with what we're doing. And, of course, I think we gotta include Ball of Lightning. 6/1 Trample Haste, it is fleeting, but you just put a sword on this on turn 4, it's attacking for 8. I mean, this thing really can just pressure your opponent's life total in a pretty noticeable way. Stormseeker, I will say, is probably decent in a meta with Teferi. It's a little slow, but it's definitely worth considering. But I'm already seeing how many 3-drops we have. We technically only have 1 slot left, which is crazy, because I feel like we could already think about including other things. But I mean, I already like the look of this. You know, it's low curve, it's aggressive, it's efficient. We've got some removal, we've got some reach. So I'm liking how it's looking so far. Um, Okon's interesting. Like, I guess when we're playing with Stoneforge Mystic, there's a chance we could get this through. Or with Shortcutter. But I don't know that that's the move. There's also Sky Knight Legionnaire, which it looks really underwhelming. But when you can play this later in the game and suit it up and attack your opponent for like 5 in the air, it's pretty good. Um, I'm just not sure if it's better than what we're doing. So, kind of just going to scroll here. I think the highest cost card we'll go with would be 4 or 5, just because of the lands that we want to run and just having the most efficient turns we can. Even Tour Guide's an interesting one. I don't think, because we're not playing we're not a Johnny, so it's just not getting as much value. Rest of Angel, I don't think is really doing it for us. But I think Zozu is always pretty scary. This thing just comes down. Big haste creature. It doesn't have evasion, right? But we can potentially give it off the Stoneforge Mystic. And it can just hit for a lot. Now, Looting Lizard, I think, if we were going for a more mid-range version, is also very solid. Right? Because it's pretty good card advantage. There's also Tajik, Lightning Helix. And I think that's kind of where I would cap it. I mean, could think about Captain of the Guard, Team Captain. If we were running Moorland Haunt, so this is where we should consider. Like, would we rather be running Emberspawn Crag, Moorland Haunt, Molten Monastery? And I think it's between these two, personally. And I think aggro has not, been doing very well in the meta. So if we're trying to win games and we're going lower curve, I don't know, maybe Moorland Haunt is a little bit better in the sense that we could run Tajik and Zozu. I mean, in particular, Zozu. I'm just thinking about, because Moorland, if we wanted to play Team Captain, if we wanted to go more mid-range, you get back Team Captain, that's like a real pain to deal with. You're going to have to block it. It's pumping everything. But if we're going Oath of the Paladin, we're definitely more on the aggro side of things. We could be more mid-range. Really just depends. Depends on what we think is going to be good. I mean, I think Nahiri is one of the better aggro decks. And I also haven't played it that much, so it's hard to say what we want to do. But I like the look of this. We've got some haste threats, we've got some removal, we've got some, giving things evasion, pressing damage early. Oh, so it's tough. I mean, my instinct is that maybe going more mid-range is a little bit better. But I don't know how good Tajik really is. Lightning Helix, I think, is a good removal spell, but I think I'd rather just run Path. Team Captain is definitely something that's worth considering. But I think I kind of want to fire this up with Emberspawn Crags and see how it does. I like the look of this so far. If I was just going to run a pretty low to the curve, efficient aggro style deck. And I think Emberspawn Crags is definitely a bit more synergistic than playing Moorland Haunt. And Monastery, I think, is a little awkward. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like this. I mean, we've got essentially 7 1-drops. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 2-drops, or 12 2-drops, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. Yeah, I think that's good. 2-drops are very important, right? You're able to do both of them on turn 4, right? Sometimes you'll have hands where you can play triple 1-drop. by turn 2. All of the 2 drops are doing something to push damage, basically. And then we've got got 1, 2, 3, 4 removal spells, 5 if you count the second spell and Oath, which seems like a pretty decent amount. We've got some reach with Ball Lightning. Willful Smith, aka Will Smith, is pumping up our little creatures, which seems pretty efficient. And Zozu is just a haste creature that can sometimes just kill your opponent if they're not able to answer it that turn. Like, who knows, maybe you rip it after Day of Judgment, slam them for a bunch of damage. Yeah, I mean, this seems reasonable to me. So, just call this low curve. Alright. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. Throw some likes this way. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And please comment if you're like, wow, I don't know if I would have built this deck this way. But I try to go kind of just off of instinct and a little bit off of experience. I haven't had too much experience playing this Planeswalker, especially lately. But I think if I was just going for a straight aggro version, I think this is what I would do. So I kind of want to hop in and just see if we can snag some wins with this deck. I think the meta is somewhat unfriendly to these kinds of strategies, but I think Nahiri's got some tools to actually punch through. So let's get it. And that's why I like these challenges, because, you know, if you want to get them done, you usually have to force yourself to maybe play something you don't usually play. Optimize it, you know, see if it's good. Ah, okay, Ashiok definitely gaining popularity in response to Teferi. Makes a lot of sense. So let's see. I mean, if they're able to deal with aggro, it's going to be tough, but we might be able to pressure them. Okay, so we've got 1 drop, 2. Don't know what they are going to be able to answer with. Alright, I think I'll lead with the Hellhound. So I'm going to ship back the Griff, because we've got the 1-2. Alright, well, double Hellhound. So we'll see if we draw the dog early. Maybe we just go triple 1-drop over turns 1 and 2. We're going to school the wizard. Yep, makes sense. Okay, there's the good old doggo. But yeah, we're definitely going to lead with Hellhound. They might just drain blood this right off the bat. I could see that. Okay, crab. Sure. And using the gem to extract fear. Okay. Really just trying to get aggressive here. Alright, well, I think I'm going to start my turn by Daughters of Runezing, and I'm just going to try and trade off my dog here for their crab, which I imagine they will. And then next turn it might just be Iguana and Faithful Seed. I definitely want to get Divine Smite sooner rather than later. Okay, they got my Steed. Interesting. Well, you know what? Let's see if we can actually just trade here. It might just take 3, but kind of makes sense for them to just try and answer each threat that I play. And now we're going to spread it out. And I'm going to put the toughness on the Hellhounds to try and be out of range of anything but, I guess, Agony, Tendrils of Agony. We also could slam Ball Lightning next turn, equip with our sword. And I generally like to run Nahiri low curve, right? Because you can use the spending 1 mana on your creatures as a way to just be really, really mana efficient. Okay, well now we could go double 2-drop, but then they could infest. So it's probably wise to play around that. So I think let's just get maximum damage here. Oh, I forgot this gets the armor. Right, from... Well, that's unlucky that it got on this, but that's okay. We're just going to swing with everything here. So they could take 10 and block here. That's probably the best play. Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe they did that so that they can infest next turn. Okay, that's fine. We've got follow-up for that. Oh, interesting. Okay. Got it. Alright, well, decent turn for Crags, actually. We can make some good use of this. Oh, wow, and we have Divine Smite. That's actually really clutch. Yeah, because we can just Divine Smite this and play our Emberling, attack with everything, and they take 5. But we could also just equip... I mean, this is just a really efficient play. So I think I like this more. Get Aura of Courage in our deck. That's really important. And I think to make use of our Emberling here, I'm actually just going to use the mana to pump the Emberling and hold this one. Hey, what's up? Okay. Yep. They take 5. Robot, yep. And familiar, sure. And infection. Okay, well, that's perfectly fine. Alright, so we're just going to go 2-2 anyway, so I'm just going to equip this. And attack. Yeah. Right, so they essentially 2 for 1, which is pretty good for us, I would say. Question is, do they have Infest in their hand? So, I'm not going to play around it. I don't think we want to go too slow here. And I will put it here because this is already getting blocked. They have Infest, it's unfortunate, but, you know, if we just peel Ball of Lightning or something else, it's going to be really tough for them. Okay, Flagrant Foul. I'm going to take 2 here, just because if we draw some sort of removal spell, I don't want to just instantly trade off my creature when my creature can potentially attack past. Ah, okay. Well, Aura of Courage is a good one. So, yeah, so we'll trade for the crab here. And then we'll play Overgrown Iguana. We're definitely running out of gas, so it's going to be a little tough to close this one out, but getting Aura of Courage down to potentially get Emberspawn Crags that are attacking for a lot is very good. Yep, makes sense. I'm going to take my 2. See what they got. Evil Twin. That's a good one. Jeez. Yeah. Okay, well, Crags is good here. Clearly. And just equip 1. We're going to play the Devoted Steed and pump itself. So they block here. And then I imagine they're still going to block. Yeah. Okay, take 3. And play our steed. And the turn. Okay, old graveyard. I mean, lightning ball off the top would be pretty good. Or if we can never proc the Emberlings, that's just such a good way to pressure with Aura of Courage. Yeah, it's pretty likely we're going to start drawing Nightmares, though, now. So that is rough. But in general, I think the deck feels like it's playing how it's supposed to be playing. Just might not be quite card advantage, have enough card advantage to close things out. Okay. Oh, alright, well that's a good draw. Hate for them to gain the life. Yep, so we're just going to equip the... I mean, they're more incentivized to block here to get the armor off. But yeah, I mean, we should just spread the power as much as possible. Right? So they're taking 4 regardless here. Or minimum of 4, I should say. Okay. That's our turn. Another old graveyard proc. Not good. But we've had 2 Emberling procs, so can't really complain. Crafter, oh that's pretty good. Gives him another blocker as well. Yeah. Our opponent might stabilize here. So we'll not be blocking. But I think if we get another haste creature and Emberlings, that should be pretty close. Man, they keep getting Decaying Ghouls off of Graveyard, which is kind of annoying, because it's just a cheap body that can block. Oh. And Repulse. Oh, okay. Well, I'm pretty okay with that. Oh, Ball Lightning. Yeah, that'll do it. That will, in fact, do it. Nice. We drew we drew one of our rounds. Not too bad. Man, I'm already feeling like Sky Knight Legionnaire might be a really important auto-include. Like, I think the 1-drops are good, but, like, we don't... I don't know, maybe Mother of Runes, just, like, the armor for our creatures isn't that important. Huh. Like, having the ability to draw Sky Knight Legionnaire, to go over the top, it's got haste, it's got flying, is making me think that we should be running it. And like armor just I don't think that this matters that much. The more I'm thinking about it. I mean, obviously I'm a little biased in that game. Like we were just looking for an evasive threat to finish the game, but like that's gonna happen when you play Nahiri. So, all right, let's. Our curve looks a little wonky. Only got 5 1-drops, but I don't know. I don't think one drops are exactly where it's at in this meta anyway. Okay, let's make this adjustment. We won the game, which was nice, but I don't know. I'm just already starting to see how like we need to have ways of closing the door, and adding to Skynet Legionnaires to our deck is potentially a way to do that as a haste evasive threat. Because even Zozu doesn't do anything, right? Because they just get to chump block it. So, we'll see. But we got the win against Ashiok, which, to be fair, like, most Ashioks are sort of tacking against Teferi these days. So I don't really expect them to have a great game into aggro. Oh, Tino, what's good, man? The zombie slinger themselves. Alright, this should be interesting. I don't know exactly how this is going to go. Yeah, Path is not going to do a whole lot. Shortcutter can. Ball of Lightning obviously does a lot of damage, but I think I'm going to ship these back. Maybe we get a 1-drop. Ball of Lightning's not bad, though. Does pressure their life total. Okay. Alright, that's fine. I really like Shortcutter because it just allows us to potentially attack past, like, one of their zombies. We're on the draw, also, so, like, we might just run out Recruit first if they don't have anything on one. Alright, well, I'm actually not going to use my mana gem, because if I know Tino's build for the most part, just because we're on the same team, and it's probably the -2/-2. And I don't want them to counter my debut or really any other ones, so I'm just going to run out Hellhound. Okay, they don't have it. That's good for us. They might have the 1 mana make it 2/2 zombie. Okay, Trade Bud, yep. I can live with that. I can live with that. Yeah, let's just get some damage in with Core Recruit. I'm not going to use my gem yet. I could trade my gem to do 2 more damage, but I think I do want to be able to have the flexibility of using my mana gem when I need to. Okay, well, there's the Soul Silver Lich. So we'll probably be seeing that real soon. Could go Shortcutter and Faithful Steed. I don't really think we need to do that. I think we can maybe go Devoted Steed and Faithful. Question is, where do I want this point of damage? I'll just put it on our armor creature here and attack. Imagine they want to block here. They might just take 3. Okay. Run out the Faithful Steed. I'll put this here just so it can survive attacking through a zombie. Oh, if they've got the Zombify, it's going to be tough. Okay, Grave Titan, yeah. Another zombie. Yep, they've got the Zombify, or it's Anticipate. Ugh. Double Zombify. Tino, why you gotta do me like this, man? Oh, why you gotta do me like this? Alright, well, it's looking like a pretty easy path of exile on the Grave Titan. And then we can equip Core Recruit to block. It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, into Liliana, I think aggro decks do tend to struggle. I mean, sometimes they can get there, but, you know, sometimes you're facing down a Lich on turn 5, right? So, not ideal. We do get the block here, which is, you know, something. But it's likely not going to be enough. And they can Grimoire back the... Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, well we can get some... We can cobble an attack together, which is, you know, not nothing. Alright, and here... Just get what damage we can. But we're just going to get lower and lower, and then they get to make 2/2 zombies, so I don't really think we have an ability to win this game. But Liliana doesn't always hit their, you know... I mean, having double Zombify, too, like... It's one thing if it's one card and I can Goblin Shortcutter it. It's another thing when they put 2 threats out, but... Okay, Sky Knight, I mean, can maybe do some work here if we can survive. Alright, well, I think... Luck here. And... Obviously can't take 8, so we block with our dog. War of Courage, yeah. Alright, I mean, this is not terrible. Oh, hallway. Yeah. That's pretty bad. Kind of hoping they didn't have it, but... Yeah, I mean, I think we're dead either way, but... So we gotta pressure here. If they have any removal, we're dead, right? Any of these creatures is lethal when this thing attacks. So, probably a GG here. I mean, Power Word Stun obviously would be the most effective. Yeah, they can bring this back. There's nothing I can do about that. I guess I have to block here, and then I have to trade here. Alright, you know what? I'm kind of down to try Power Word Stun over Path of Exile. Or Path to Exile. I mean, obviously it's for this matchup. So... Alright, Tina, I think you got it here, bud. I don't think they're... Yeah, we only have one blocker, so... Yeah, I mean, Power Word Stun, I think, obviously does really well against this deck. I don't know that we need to put it in. And I guess if I'm going to lose, I'm fine losing to Tino. He is the zombie prodigy. What else is Power Word Stun good against? It's really just Liliana, right? So I don't know that it makes sense to do it against anything else. Yeah. That's alright. Let's do one more. But yeah, this is definitely how I would think about it. Like, I would play these matches and think about, okay, what card would be better? Obviously, Power Word Stun would have been better over Path to Exile. In that case, though, they also had Ghoul Caller's Grimoire, so they can just sack it to that. So that is a way for Liliana to play around Power Word Stun. Alright, I'm interested to see how we do into Teferi. I think this is probably a hard matchup, but they are running an interesting land that I typically do not see. And this is a fine opener, for sure. We've got a good curve, so I'm down to keep that. Running Training Yard. So this might be like a. Do they have Oath of the Paladin? Yeah. Okay, so it's like a. I remember Teferi builds like this, where it's like all about like combat traps, and they just, kind of out tempo you with that. It's been a while since I've seen this build, but I think it is a cool build of Teferi. Um, okay, I'm trying to think what they might have here. Disorient. Yep. Okay. That's fine. Because we can also still, obviously, use sword and pump this. It's not the end of the world. Sure, sure. Alright, well, I think we just want to get our Will Smith down, for sure. The question is, do I want to trade damage here? Probably not, because they could have just another Disorient. So, yeah, just pass the turn. Nothing. Okay. So hard to tell what they might be running here, and I don't really want to run into something for Sky Knight Legionnaire to die. So why don't we start with Steed. And then I could run Core Recruit out here. It doesn't do a whole lot, though. Okay. Kind of decided might as well just be efficient here. Get in some damage. Okay. Alright, I'm guessing Vindictive Shot's gonna come out here. Oh, raise the guard. Okay. That tracks. We got their Divine Smite. Okay, we got ours. But I think we just want to get as much damage in as possible here. So let's just get in here. So they don't really have good blocks. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I would have loved to play out the matchup a little bit more.